What up, Eagle Talk fam? Welcome to Listen, a special edition of Eagle Talk. It's your girl, Rosemary, and I'm so excited because I am here with what some would call my competitors, right? Yeah. But they are my collaborators. Yes. My real estate besties are in the building, and I'm so excited. Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all. We excited. Hey. Oh, wait, no, I'm not from Texas. Hey, you guys, what's up?
Look, with me, you from Texas.
Hey, y'all.
Okay, yeah. And I got my hey, y'all. My hey, y'all is in. Well, let me introduce you to my friends, my sister friends, my real estate sisters, but honestly, they both mean so much more to me. So to my left is Shelyna.
Hi.
So quick story about how Shelyna and I went from just kind of sort of a little bit knowing each other to actually fostering a relationship. Mm-hmm. So I think it was on social media.
Instagram, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Instagram. Yep. So I reached out. I slid in her DMs, y'all. I slid in her DMs because Clubhouse had just became a thing. Yes. Yeah. And I was like, I wanted to kind of do something where I was starting to talk to, and you know, a good part, the beginning of my career, it was all about getting clients, servicing clients. Right. But then there was a shift, but teaching is your gift. So, and I saw a lot of agents like me. I'm like, oh, if you had a little bit more knowledge. So wanted to create a space, but I didn't want my voice to be the only one. Yeah. Knew that Shelyna was an educator as well, and I slid in your DMs, and you said
sure did. Tell them why you say my name like that.
Okay, no, you tell them why I say your name like.
For almost a year, Rosemary would call me Shelyna. And one day, and I never corrected her. And then one day, someone said my name in front of her, and she like, who that? Like, no, that's how you pronounce my name.
Listen, we were on Clubhouse, and I'm like, yeah, because Shelyna this and Shelyna that and Shelyna. And then one day she said something like, it was you. You were talking about yourself in third person, telling the story. Okay. Yes, and you were like, yeah, and then such and such said Shelyna. I'm like, wait, I interrupted her story. Like, hold up, wait a minute. What's your name? And that was on like week 10. So now I think about it like Shelyna.
Yeah, so she pronounces and makes sure she says. So sliding in DMs works. Don't be afraid to slide into DMs, because I'll be honest, when she reached out, I was like, wait a minute, is she sure she got the right person? Does she know it's me she reached out to? Shelyna. And it was like we knew each other for years, because she was like, hey girl, let's come to Clubhouse. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I absolutely love that story, because she said my name wrong, and it was just like, oh, she's so cute. Just let it go. She's so cute.
Yes. And from that, Clubhouse, listen, I stopped doing Clubhouse, and Shelyna wanted to keep doing it.
I was like, let's go. She's like, nah.
Well, you know why I stopped? Because I love to repurpose content. Yeah. And we were dropping some gems, and I'm like, there was no way to record it. Yeah, you can record it. So I was like, this is not the best use of our time.
That makes sense.
So we've been able to teach and do some stuff. And from Shelyna, I became more acquainted with Tenesha Lusk. Yes. Okay. And Tenesha and I kind of sort of a little bit knew each other too. But more from not a competitive standpoint, but like
the same network, right?
The same network. Yep. Mm-hmm. And you all were at the same brokerage. Mm-hmm. Then they drank the juice.
We just added some extra to our juice.
Some extra sauce. And they came over, and we're all a part of the same brokerage. Yes. So yes. So Tenesha, let's start with you. I just want you to just tell the people a little bit about you, and then we're going to get into our topic today, y'all, of what would we tell our younger selves as working moms, women, individuals. Like, what would we say to ourselves? But first, tell me a little bit about you, boo.
So I am born and raised in Dallas. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
That's not a common thing.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. I didn't realize that until I moved up north. Yeah. But yeah, born and raised in Dallas. The oldest of 4 siblings. I'm married. I can't tell you how long I've been married for a long time. Let's put it there. I've been married for a long time. Married. We have 4 kids. Ranging all different age groups. I call it the circus of the Lusk family. And just trying our best to live the best life we can for our kids and for our parents and our siblings, just, trying to be the best people that we can be for anybody that we come in contact with. Yeah. So that's who I am.
That's who she is. And Shelyna, Tenesha was actually a speaker at Eagle Talk Live.
Yes,
2020.
That was fun.
It was fun.
That was fun.
Listen, I'm looking at the camera now.
That was fun.
Y'all better be at the next Eagle Talk Live.
If you don't get your tickets, we're gonna come. No, seriously, you cannot miss this next one. Get your tickets.
Yeah, we gotta put. So that means y'all on the planning committee for the next one.
Oh, what had happened was, wait a minute. Well, I'm just gonna put it out there. I told Rosemary she need to be global with it. Oh,
come on, Jesus.
She need to Chicago. I think y'all might be first, but
you
guys help me.
You gotta take it back home.
Hey, we'll take it back home. Take it back home. Well, tell us a little bit about you, Shelyna.
Oh my goodness, I am a New Yorker, born and raised in Brooklyn. Moved to Texas. Texas was like the first place I actually lived in. Never lived outside of New York permanently. And so this was a whole new experience for me. Like everybody thought we were supposed to have horses and cows and not like that here.
No.
So we moved here in 2007. My daughter was 2 weeks old when we hopped in the car and drove out here.
Wow.
Went to the doctor. Doctor cleared her for travel and we were gone.
Wow.
Drove here from New York. And we've been here since. I have 3 kids. How old are my kids again? Dang. 24, 21, and 14 going on 35.
Okay.
And then 2 grandkids actually. So, and my husband, he's like you'll never see him. He's going to stay locked in the house behind the desk, watching sports or working.
I be seeing him.
Yeah, he come out when
I just seen him on your
Instagram.
I
be tricking him like, hey, we need to go to the grocery store. And then he's like, how do we end up in the bowling alley? I don't know. It just happened. It just happened. So, and I've been in real estate now for, I don't even remember. We're not even going to talk numbers. I've been in real estate for a while. But I was a teacher. And it's so crazy because Rosemary and I taught in the same school district.
Yep.
We knew all the same people, but we never crossed paths until we got into real estate.
Yeah.
And so I was an educator for like 15 years. I did every grade. I did 2nd through 12th grade. And right before I left, I was dual career. Did dual career 2 years.
Wait, explain what does dual career mean? Most people don't know that.
So dual career is when you're still working a full-time job and you're a full-time real estate agent.
Yeah, so you're working 2 full-time jobs.
I was full-time. Like
That's
some people say I'm doing real estate part-time.
It's 2 full-time jobs.
Y'all, listen, it was 2 full. It wasn't a hobby. I was treating it like a real career.
Yeah.
Burnt out. I mean, when I say I burnt out hard, I was hospitalized. That's how bad it was. And decided it's time to leave education. Left my last stint. I was teaching 6th grade English, and that was it. After 2 years, I left.
Wow, that is awesome. Yeah. Well, so you already can see why I had chose them to be a part of this conversation. And Tenesha is like she's the older. Where do you fall in your family? Oldest, youngest?
I don't know. That's a good question. Sometimes I don't be acting like I have family. So I have a younger brother. He's 4 years younger than me.
Okay. Yeah. So you have a younger. So you're not the oldest, but Tenesha's the oldest.
Yes.
And then I'm the baby. Like I'm the wild card, even in our bunch here. So we almost fall the way we fall in our families with how we behave.
And you can tell when we're together. Rose may be all in her emotions like a baby. Me, I'm like, girl, you better get up. Let's go.
Okay.
Right. And the middle child's just trying to take care of everybody.
Oh, that is so true.
Everybody is taken care of, right?
That is so true.
So when I talk, we had lunch a couple weeks ago, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna bring y'all to Eagle Talk, and I'm just really thinking we just go sit here and talk. No, Tenesha want an itinerary.
Yeah, she sure did. She was like, so what time? What's the topic?
Do I prepare my heart for?
Like what we getting into?
So what we decided, y'all, is that we would talk about what would we tell our younger selves, and I started to be like hammer it all the way down, like you're at your 18-year-old or your whatever old. But I just went because after you live life, then we glean a different sort of wisdom. Right. And I know that I'm not the only one that's just kind of like, man, I wish I wish somebody would have told me. I wish I would have been in my ear younger to say these things. So we just want to kind of talk.
Cuss him out. Ooh, girl. No.
Right. You probably don't want to key that car.
Yeah. Oh, you key cars too, girl.
No, I would have keyed that car.
Corey, I did not key a car.
Like, girl, you missed that side right there.
But we just wanted to start thinking about what will we say, because let's just be honest, and Glennis and I, that's our producer extraordinaire, we were just talking about it before, is that life just sometimes sucks. It has some hard moments.
Yes.
And sometimes, especially I think when you're younger though, it feels like a breakup a overdue bill, not knowing what you want to do. It feels like everything's gonna fall apart at any moment. And for some people, it's still like that as they get older. So just spending some time thinking, like, if I could talk to whatever old Shelyna, whatever old Tenesha, whatever old Rosemary, what would I want to whisper in her ear? Who want to start?
Not it.
I'll go. I'm the oldest. I'll go. I'll jump off the cliff first. Everybody else follows.
But honestly, you're not the oldest of us. Like in age.
But in ability to do stuff, it's gonna be. Let me light this on fire and see if it's hot. I ain't forget that.
Hilarious because you probably the youngest of us.
I'm 39.
Yeah, she's the youngest.
Okay, but she see. I'm saying,
you have to have that little sister who's the big sister in reality.
Yes.
There it is.
Okay, so go on, big sis.
So well, like I was telling you before we started, that was a hard question. And when I responded to you, I was like, I'm not even going to elaborate. And I was like, okay, I'm going to let them take whatever they take it for. And so when I came, I was like, it was hard because the things that I'm telling myself when I was younger is the same things I'm telling myself now. Like, one of the things is be okay people not understanding why you're doing what you do. Right? So it's kind of like, being younger and me being not the one that want to go with the crowd. Right. I had to be okay that people didn't understand why I wanted to do. They just say, Tenesha, she gonna do what the hell she want to do.
Right.
Like that's just what she's gonna do. So, it's the constant, I guess you say, reaffirmations. Right. Because the journey, the journey keeps going. It doesn't get easier. It just gets easier because you're constantly telling yourself, like, now what you're reaffirming, you have put it into action and you can keep moving on that journey. Right.
Right.
So, it's no different than working out. When you work out, when you first start, it hurts.
Yes.
But then when you keep going, it gets easier and easier. But that one day you miss, it may hurt a little, but it doesn't hurt as much as it did the first time you worked out, right?
Like a tolerance to it.
But I'll say, like, a few of the things that I constantly tell myself is, of course, not being okay that you're going to do what you want to do and being okay that people are not going to understand it.
Yeah.
Right. And not allowing, what they say, don't let people put their fears on you.
Yeah.
Like literally last night, it's not fears, it's the shame.
Yeah.
Don't let people put their shame on you because they did something that didn't work out and they had to live within that shame because somebody made them feel bad about trying it and it failed. Then they're just putting the shame on you. It's not fear because they did it.
Yeah.
It just made them feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just like not carrying that shame of other people's because of decisions that they made and it didn't work out in their favor and just be like, if it don't work out for me, it is what it is.
And not being afraid to quote unquote fail.
Yeah,
right. Because and what you just said, I just thought about the silliest thing in the world, but it is what it is about not letting people put their stuff on you. So my mother, God rest her soul, did not. If you wanted to make her mad, give her a salad without red dressing.
Ooh.
Right, without French dressing, right? And I don't know if she had a bad experience. So shame can look different. Like, I don't know if she got sick and got embarrassed. I don't know if it's something that she didn't like, but like when I grew up in a house where salad came with French dressing, to the point that when I got older, it surprised me that most places don't even offer
No,
it.
they don't.
You know what I'm saying? Like most places don't offer it.
Italian ranch.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you want balsamic? That's about as red as you're going to get.
And then when I actually tried something else, I was like, I actually kind of like it better. But she didn't tell me she didn't feed me or French dressing to hurt me.
Right.
It was just based on her experience, right?
Yep.
But and a lot of times I think as parents or when we grow up, we realize like I'm carrying a lot of other people's stuff. Corey would tell me all the time he allergic to nuts. And I'm like, no, you're not. He like, yes, I am. I'm like, no, you're not. He like, my mom is. I'm allergic to nuts. I'm like, I've been giving you almond milk.
Listen,
I've been giving you almond milk since I met you.
Talking about he allergic to shrimp, sir. Yeah, I put something in that. You're not allergic.
Yeah. But so that's a good one. Not putting other people's stuff on you.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it's just also knowing that I had to constantly reaffirm myself that womanhood looks different. it's not all the same. Like you can have two of the same women, or even in motherhood.
Yes.
I think that's the big part. Motherhood looks different. It is not something that comes out of a can and you're like, okay, this is what it looks like.
Right.
And that is one thing that I will say that I will tell my younger self, being a young mom at 20, that I didn't have to look like my mom.
Yeah.
I didn't have to look like my stepmom.
Right.
And then of course the journey of being a wife.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just that reaffirming that we are all individual people and we have our own gifts. Right. And there are going to be things that are, your weakness and your strengths. But just because I don't do the way one mom does it or one wife does it doesn't mean I'm not a good mom and I'm not a good wife. What does my heart say?
Yeah. Oh, what does my heart say?
So that's constantly that I definitely have to tell people in my world when I say that you may not understand what I do, but I always know my heart. I always know that my place is coming from good and love. I just may do it a little unconventional way.
And that's like what I was telling a coaching client today. I said, okay, make it SOP, standard operating procedure. And it's not following what someone else does. How do you do it and make it work for you? Because if I try to go and do what Glennis does, y'all not gonna have no lights, y'all not gonna have no camera. But I have a way with my cell phone that I can make it work. So whatever way works, there is no wrong way to do it. It's just, this is what worked for me when I needed it. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That was good.
I love that too. Look, sister.
Girl. Okay, see, that's why you gotta start with Tenesha. You gotta set the stage for you.
Look, y'all. She pack a punch.
Yes.
Pack a punch. So what about you, Shelyna?
Yes.
Oh, do we have enough time today? Say he got to go. Well, there were 3 things that I pulled out of that when you asked that question. Because at first when you asked it, I was like, I wouldn't tell my younger self nothing. I don't know. What would I say?
Yeah.
But there were 3 things I said. It's not your fault. Be okay with man's rejection.
You go ride right past. It's not your fault.
Okay, so the first one is it's not your fault.
Yes.
Be okay with man's rejection.
Yes.
And the third one was build your own table.
Yeah.
And all of that had to deal with, so it's not your fault. I dealt with a lot of childhood trauma that I didn't know was trauma that affected me as an adult. I thought that's how you do life. That's what it is. You just take it for what it is and you move forward. And it wasn't until I became an entrepreneur that I realized, no, this ain't working. There have been plenty of days where I said, Tenesha, I'm going back to the classroom. I done called my girl. She over at Frisco in this school. She said, come on back. She's like, no, we're not doing that. But what I was dealing with was that internal battle of this is my fault.
Yeah.
It's failing because this is my fault. And that came from a childhood of wanting to please everyone. Why? Because I didn't want to be abandoned.
Yeah.
And so growing up as an adult, now you're an adult, you're working for yourself, but oh, wait a minute, if you disappoint this client or if you disappoint this agent, you're going to be abandoned again. So do whatever you can. Do whatever you can to make sure that you
get their
stay,
approval so that you don't have that.
Yeah. So that it's not your fault. The things that happen to you when you don't have control, it's not your fault. But we carry it as a burden. And then when you become a business owner, now it's like everything that doesn't go right, it's my fault. No. It's okay.
No.
It's a learning moment. So there was a lot of trauma that I've seen and had experienced, physical, mental, emotional, that carried right on with adulthood. And then I had to realize that what happened to you was not your fault. You weren't going to change that abusive moment.
Yeah.
It's not your fault.
Yep.
But it affects you when you become an adult and a business owner, because now everything that doesn't go right or everything that has a negative emotion, you equate to that's my fault.
You see it in that context.
That transaction fell through. It's my fault.
Yeah.
No, your buyer went out there and bought a car a week before closing.
And they didn't buy you nothing.
Your fault.
And
that's definitely not your fault.
That's definitely not your fault.
So it's one of those things where we get emotional about different things on different levels. So where something might bother me on the lower surface, Tenesha like, girl, you're not going back. But something might bother her at a higher level, and she doesn't even realize that there was something way back when that is triggering this emotion right now.
And we have to get it in check.
Yes.
You have to
recognize it.
As of the time that we're recording this podcast, we just had another mass shooting in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I was looking, and what they have just released about the shooter is that he had back pain and went to shoot the surgeon and the nurses who treated him. Right. And on I think all of us probably in that moment, obviously he probably felt like, I'm in this pain, they need to pay. But that response showed that there was something underneath.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Something underneath.
Yes.
And I just bring that up to say that understanding it's not my fault. Being able to rationalize, being able to understand that, you know, what you experienced as a child, you didn't have control over, and it wasn't your fault. Just like in your business, whether it is your buyer, you know, who goes out and buys a car, or, you know, the lady at the grocery store being rude to you because she had a tough day or something like that. Right. Just really having that power to understand and compartmentalize and say, okay, this is not a great moment, but it has nothing to do with my worthiness. That's huge. And a lot of times, especially my younger self couldn't.
I couldn't comprehend that because when you see things happening, you might say, well, it's my fault because I could have done something to stop it. Yeah. Why didn't I do something to intervene? But there's things you can't control. I can't control the actions of another person. And so as a kid, you're thinking, oh, this is my fault. When in reality, it was something. There was something that I had to learn. Yeah. And I had to learn that it wasn't my fault and I did not have control, which brings me to the rejection piece. Because man, oh man, if I can tell little Shelyna to be okay with rejection, we might not be in Texas. We might still be in New York. And it's one of those things where rejection comes in different forms. So it can come in a form of feeling excluded from something. Yeah. Or it can come in a form of you offering and someone saying no. Well, that whole thought process of blaming myself for what happened as a kid, when you become older, you're afraid of rejection. And that rejection could be abandonment. It can be several different things. And so when I became a business owner, I didn't understand how any of that had anything to do with running a business. Yeah. But it does. I wouldn't cold call. I would not call a single for sale by owner. Why? Because I was afraid of rejection. Yeah. Why? Because of what happened to me when I was a kid. They're going to reject me through the phone. And my husband couldn't understand it. He's like, why are you crying to make a Facebook? They're going to reject me. He couldn't understand it because he didn't have the same past that I did. And so when I started to put two and two together, it's like, oh, you're afraid of them rejecting you because of this that happened to you. Yeah. And so when I talk to agents, I try to tell them, be okay with rejection. Mm-hmm. And what I've learned is I can accept man's rejection because the word said that God has already accepted me. Mm-hmm. So I need to be okay because if I'm not okay with that, I can't go to a higher level. Mm-hmm. Right. I can't increase because God is saying, look, I need you to accept this rejection. When you learn to accept this rejection, then I can give you this because now that rejection means nothing to you. Exactly. So if I give you $100 and you get upset because someone doesn't want to go hang out with you, how can I give you $500,000? Yeah. How can I give you $600,000? How can I give you $1 million if you're going to get upset every time somebody rejects you? Yeah. So it's dealing with that emotion and having control over that. That's probably one of the toughest things to talk to new agents about because they feel like they want to be accepted by everybody.
Yeah, but would you say, would you call it rejection or would you call it that what you're offering is not meant for that person at that time? Where, like you say, rejection has nothing to do with who you are as a person. It's just a matter of there's a season for everything, right? Yeah. So it's like, okay, cool, you don't want it.
Yeah. And it's a form of rejection. Yeah. So for instance, I'm throw some personal stuff out there. We had a family member whose child was graduating, and I did not know. I went to the graduation on the behalf of a friend, and it happened to see my last name in the graduation book, and I'm like,
It ain't a lot of us out here.
Yeah,
that is
especially not the last name.
What just happened? And so I turned to my husband and I was upset because I felt rejected. Yeah, I felt like, we were excluded because, and made up a million different reasons as to why we were excluded.
They might have just had 6 tickets.
No, ma'am, they had more than 6 tickets, and I only know that because my friend and I got into a conversation about how many tickets were given out.
Okay, but listen, let me tell you, I think what you're saying is so not hilarious. I'm not laughing at you, but I'm laughing at myself.
You need to go.
I'm laughing at myself because it's amazing how we will take the fact that this kid graduated, which this kid graduated and come up with our own stories, but we do that all the time, right?
And it's just for that one moment. Like that kid is going to grow up and have many more experiences, and we're taking that one moment and be like,
but the parents might have had a whole different thing, right? Like I remember when I got married, right? I had a destination wedding, and just generally I was much closer to my mom's side of the family, just in turn, not closer closer in the sense that they were always around, and my father's side of the family was a little more spread out, right? So I made the decision myself pretty much that no, these certain people, I'm not close enough to them for them to want to pay to come to my wedding. They would have come, but I made the decision for them. So I just say that to say, how many times do we not get an invitation, or we look up and these people at lunch on Instagram or whatever, and it's like, I would have went to the office today if Shelyna and Tenesha would have told me they was up there.
That's why if I could go back, because see, growing up there were different reasons why I was rejected. My grandmother's side of the family, everyone is light skinned. You're too dark. Oh, I'm in this community where I'm the darkest one. You're too dark. And it's, oh, we don't like the way you look. We don't like the way you dress. We don't like what you're driving. So now we make up these stories. Okay, they're rejecting me because I don't wear size 4. They're rejecting me because... So we make up these stories because of past history.
And we apply that to every situation.
Okay. And so that goes with that make your own table, because...
Hold on. Wait, Shelyna.
Okay, I'm going to say
make your own table, because guess what?
What happened?
Y'all gonna have to come back next week.
When you come back next week, bring your hammer, your nails, and your lumber.
Yes, y'all. So this is what we're gonna do, because this conversation is good, and I do not want to rush it, but we also don't want to have a 8-hour episode.
Yeah, because we could be here all night.
We can go all night.
Get your slumber pajamas out.
Bring it out. So we are going to have a part 2, because I know that y'all are used to, shorter episodes from us. So we are going to continue this conversation in a part 2. So make sure, listen. And I didn't even share what I was telling my younger self. And we're going to continue this. Make sure that y'all are logged in, share the episode, do all the things. And I'm coming back with my girls.
Yes.
For part 2.
See y'all soon.